Vince McMahon appears to be erased from WWE history completely. We're going to talk about that plus so much more right here on the Ango Show. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget we got a giveaway at 100,000 subscribers. If you guys are interested, it's going to be a really cool live stream once we hit 100,000 subscribers. World Championship belt replicas and tons of other prizes, gift cards, all that good stuff. You don't want to miss that. Let's just kind of kick it off, right? I think we should talk about this. Conor McGregor approached about doing WWE, and I thought this was really interesting. We saw Michael Chandler obviously call out Conor McGregor on WWE Raw just a couple weeks ago. Now Conor McGregor somebody pulled up on him, paparazzi, stuff like that. This was a video by Adam's Apple. McGregor was in New York City, and basically he was just asked if he would be interested in going to WWE. He says, "You never know. Let's see." Then he goes on and he says that he would entertain the idea, but not at this moment. And he also mentions that WWE has not approached him about working for the WWE. I don't think Conor McGregor will ever leak it himself if he is to go to WWE. I also think Conor McGregor, I'm a UFC guy, right? Like, I watch UFC. I'm a big fan of UFC. I think Conor McGregor is on the losing end of his career. I don't even know if we'll ever get the fight between him and Michael Chandler ever, to be honest with you. And I don't know if Conor will ever fight in the UFC again. So it is kind of a no-brainer for Conor McGregor to go in the WWE. In fact, I made a short on this channel where I spoke a little bit about 7 fighters who should be in the WWE at some point. Conor McGregor is one of them. The reality is, though, Conor McGregor commands such a high amount of money that even though WWE can afford it, I just cannot see how TKO and Endeavor would do it. That's the difference between WWE contracts and UFC contracts. You got to keep that in mind. I also think it's important for a lot of people to realize with Conor McGregor, he has a lot of legal trouble that he's been going through, and these are not forgotten about. So perhaps maybe just at this time, it is not the best for WWE to associate with Conor McGregor. But at the same time, too, it is, it's hard to say because UFC still openly promotes and works with Conor McGregor. Obviously, everything that Conor McGregor has been going through, some of it has, already ended up in court. Some of it hasn't. There's some allegations and whatnot. We got to see what all of that comes down to. But if you're looking at a pure skill level, I do think he would be able to cross over pretty significantly. And obviously, we'll have to wait and see how anything goes. But as of now, Conor is saying that he is not coming to WWE. What do you guys think about that? Let's keep it going. Chris Jericho's plans in AEW have changed. Now, of course, this is coming from Dave Meltzer, hit or miss, but this could make a lot of sense just based on watching the actual product. Dave Meltzer had noted on the latest Observer that AEW's original plan was to have Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara tag team in this new tag team title tournament to crown new champions. That is a very interesting point because I think Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara as a tag team is not the best way to utilize both talent. And I would go as far as saying that, truth be told, Sammy Guevara being suspended, all of this just seems so weird, right? That match with Sammy Guevara happened February 14th, I believe was the date. I could be wrong, but it was around that time, middle of February. And now we're hearing of suspension. So when was he actually suspended? There's just a lot of coincidences here with people being pulled off of AEW television. And the thing with Chris Jericho too is Chris Jericho at this time really doesn't have any momentum. And I think that needs to be talked about. And I think one of the big questions that I have for everybody here today is, do you think Chris Jericho is even needed in AEW? Now, I truly believe that Chris Jericho was absolutely 1,000% instrumental in the growth of AEW. Having Chris Jericho at the forefront of the company in the very beginning allowed people to take this company seriously. However, I feel like after 5 years now, the company doesn't really have a need for Chris Jericho on television. And for him to be doing tag team stuff with Sammy Guevara, just in my opinion, is not the right way to utilize Chris Jericho. And also Sammy Guevara, who I believe has been a little bit unreliable in certain ways, but a very talented individual. I think Sammy Guevara would be better utilized as an individual performer. Now, at the end of the day, Sammy Guevara is suspended, and ultimately, Chris Jericho could have another tag team partner. Obviously, we saw something on Dynamite between him and Hook, so maybe that leads to something there. I don't know. But also at the same time, too, I'm not sure if that's something that I want to see. I think Chris Jericho at this point, after the inner circle, pretty much everything fell apart for me. And I just don't think that Chris Jericho has been doing anything special lately. I don't know why or how, but there's a lot of cool stuff happening on AEW TV these days. And just maybe they don't need him. And, Chris Jericho going back to WWE, getting his Hall of Fame induction could make a lot of sense as well. I just don't see WWE bringing him back either. So who knows? Maybe it's going to be a backstage role or something like that. And that leads us to our final topic of today's video. Ladies and gentlemen, Vince McMahon, again, erased from WWE history, but this time it is happening in WWE 2K24. This is a pretty big deal because all of these allegations and the game just side by side being worked on around the same time. The 2K team was pretty fast in responding. 2K obviously didn't make Brock Lesnar a playable character, and in addition to that, Vince McMahon is not in the game. However, he does appear in cutscenes for the showcase mode for WWE 2K24. However, 2K had actually blurred out Vince McMahon. Now, at the end of the day, these allegations against Vince McMahon are incredibly serious, and WWE is trying to distance themselves from the Vince McMahon era. And TKO is already publicly saying that Vince McMahon is not coming back. There is no plans for him to come back. Now Vince McMahon is being blurred out from the footage in WWE 2K24. I think it is relatively clear that WWE is 1000% done with Vince McMahon. The people getting inducted into the Hall of Fame are people that Vince McMahon wouldn't induct into the Hall of Fame. The people that are being utilized on TV are talent that Vince McMahon would have never utilized. And at the end of the day, wrestling is a lot better without Vince McMahon. 1000%. It is evidence. It is evidently clear if you watch the product, it is a lot better. And you know what? Triple H is bringing some heat with WWE. Tony Khan is getting AEW back on track. Wrestling is freaking awesome. And I've said this before. Look at the way I've covered AEW news and look at the way I've covered WWE news. There is a significant amount of drama in these companies. And the best thing that you could do is get away from it. Move on. Get away from it. AEW had their drama with CM Punk. CM Punk's now in WWE and things are good. WWE has drama with Vince McMahon. They're moving on. And at the end of the day, the products are doing really well and you want that to continue and you don't want this stuff happening, especially to the magnitude of the allegations in which Vince McMahon has is just purely disgusting. The fact that it's even something that has to be talked about is disgusting. So it's important that we acknowledge that those things have happened. Obviously, the legal system will figure things out, but now it is time for both of these companies to move on from any sort of drama and continue putting out the best product forward. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, Vince McMahon being erased from WWE 2K24, it's not a shocker, but it's very real. Thank you for watching The Ango Show.